Build idea. Blast Rain, cast on crit, desecrate, detonate dead. The inspiration for this build came by looking at different unique bows. For the simple reason that GGG have buffed or changed different bows and bow skills. I then decided to try some out, and one particular bow caught my eye, which was the Voltaxic Rift. In my last video, I already showed a version of this build using the Elementalist and Voltaxic Rift. But in order to scale it to the point where I felt like it was playable, I would have to use a lot of currency just to maybe make it work. But I theory crafted a different version using a Chieftain, and just skipping the Voltaxic Rift for a cast on crit bow made it way easier to gear and scale the damage. I've bought a 6-link Shaper bow with socketed gems are supported by cast on crit, plus a power charge on crit, all that for the cost of 3 exalts. In context, the 6-link Voltaxic Rift cost 3 exalts as well, so I would have gained a better bow for the same price. The utility and defenses that you gain from Chieftain makes it way more easier to gear, and as well makes it way more easier to scale the damage. This doesn't mean that this build has a lot of damage, but I scaled it high enough to be able to kill level 8 Conquerors, Sirius and the Shaper Guardians. At the current state, I would say it's neither fast nor is it deathless, but it was able to do it without any fails. And that was good enough because it only cost me 5 to 6 exalts to clear the end game, and that is a success for me in itself. To make this clear, my build ideas aren't necessarily builds that I would recommend, but rather me learning how to create builds that I personally find interesting. And also figuring out the feel of skills, because it's easy to see someone play a certain build or read the damage numbers, but what the build really feels like to really experience it, that's what I'm after. And finding the builds that I personally really enjoy, that is my goal in Path of Exile. And also to contribute my experience to help improve the game. So for any Blast Rain cast on crit characters, I would definitely recommend to either have a way to just stand there to hold down the Blast Rain button in order to maximize your DPS. Also, you have to scale crit in order to reliably crit with every single Blast Rain attack. This sounds kind of obvious that you should have a lot of crit chance in order to cast on crit, but I mean you should have a crit chance in the higher parts of the 90%. With my current gear and character, I am roughly in the mid 80s, which is enough for example, for Cyclone cast on crit characters, but for Blast Rain you definitely need a higher number, because even though rarely, a problem would occur when you meet a pack and shoot Blast Rain 3 times and none of them crit, and that's just bad luck. And once that happens, it feels bad and it's even potentially dangerous, leading to some dumb deaths. So I've decided to go the tanky route with my character in order to just stand there and hold down my button. So I chose a Kaom's Heart as a chest piece because my 6-link is on the bow, and using all 6 endurance charges plus the keystone Soul of Steel, giving me more physical damage reduction plus 1 always. I also use a Purity of Fire in order to be able to run Righteous Fire here and there whenever I feel like I need a damage boost. The reason I also chose Blast Rain instead of Cyclone is the new Blast Rain has a 275 millisecond window to let all the arrows drop down. I don't know why, but in my head I thought it was 250 milliseconds. If it were 250 milliseconds, one arrow would explode every 15 milliseconds. Given that the cooldown of cast on crit is 150 milliseconds, which can be reduced down to 100 milliseconds by scaling cooldown recovery speed, I thought you could essentially get to a point where every 50 milliseconds one arrow explodes, triggering the cast on crit perfectly for each spell. Now again, it's not 250, it's 275, and I'm not even sure I calculated the cooldown recovery speed correctly either. And in order to efficiently deal the damage, you have to stand still and hold down the button anyway, which is kind of hard to do with bosses if you are very squishy. So the Blast Rain cast on crit combo works well, but not as well as I initially thought. This way of cast on critting though has potential, and there are some build ideas that I have that makes this type of playstyle more fun. But for now I want to switch it up a little bit and play some other build ideas that are completely different from this. But for those builds, I will be needing the Awakener Orb though, because I think crafting some of this new rare items is actually something that I really look forward to. And since everybody's playing minions and I want to experience what that is about, because I have never played minion builds before, I've decided to make a new minion character just to get a small perspective in the minion meta and of course save some time farming some Awakener Orbs. To summarize the most important points about this character and playstyle: 1. Have effective crit chance in the high 90s. 2. When you do so, trust that one blast rain will clear the entire pack. This enables you to just keep on moving and pushing your clear speed to a higher level. 3. This playstyle requires you to stand still while boss fighting, meaning you either have to build defensively or build enough damage to instant delete the boss. 4. I don't think this playstyle is League starter friendly unless you go assassin. And 5. Moving bosses are really annoying with this playstyle. You can kind of get around it by actually clicking on the boss, which makes your blast rain follow the boss even if he goes off screen, but it's still annoying because your blast rain will still miss a lot. These are the important points while trying to create a build using blast rain cast on crit. This is my first build video that actually focuses more on the playstyle and skill, trying to figure out its nuances and what the mechanical characteristics are in order to give you the important information to create your own build instead of me giving you a finished one. I believe that linking the paste bin for the path of building is enough for you to follow this build or any build nowadays, and I don't think you need a 10-minute video of me explaining exactly each and every step of the build. A while ago I created an evaluation system on another channel which I will use for this channel instead. I will reveal this evaluation system in a later video, or you can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/y1twitch. Anyway, hope you have a nice day.